Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we're diving into something absolutely fascinating from the world of behavioral psychology. We are talking about the idea that women are constantly broadcasting these subtle, nonverbal attraction cues that, let's be honest, most guys completely miss. And we're not talking about old wives' tales or guessing games here. The source material we're unpacking today actually decodes these physical signals using real psychology and science. Because, as it turns out, human biology has a really clever way of speaking volumes without saying a single word.
So right off the bat, I want you to picture somebody specific. Maybe it's a crush, a friend you're kind of curious about, or even just someone you recently met. Keep them in mind as we go through this explainer, because we're going to be building a gamified attraction scale as we go. For every psychological sign we uncover, you're going to add points to a mental scorecard. And by the end of this, we'll use that exact score to diagnose your situation and see if you're totally missing the moments she's secretly saying she likes you.
Let's kick things off by busting a classic myth. You know that idea that if a girl plays with her hair, she likes you? Well, according to the source, that's not actually rooted in science. A lot of the time, it's really just nervous fidgeting. But what's super interesting is what you should be looking for instead, and that is the suprasternal notch. That's a fancy term for that small, subtle indent right at the base of the neck between the collarbones. Evolutionary psychology links exposing this highly vulnerable area to trust and attraction. So if she specifically moves her hair out of the way to expose her neck in that notch, all while maintaining eye contact with you, that is a massive subconscious signal that she's into you and feels vulnerable around you. So if you spotted her intentionally brushing her hair back to flash that neckline while looking right at you, go ahead and add 2 points to your running tally. It's a remarkably strong indicator of hidden interest.
Okay, this next one brilliantly illustrates just how wild our subconscious actually is. The average person blinks about every 3 to 4 seconds. But if someone is highly attracted to whatever they're looking at, their body triggers what researchers call the blink freeze. That rate plummets to just once every 6 to 10 seconds. A 2023 study found that this massive drop happens because the brain literally does not want to miss a single microsecond of what it's seeing. It was especially obvious when participants were watching highly attractive clips. So if her blinking drastically slows down when she's talking to you, her mind is quite literally locked onto you.
If you've ever caught that intense blink freeze, lock 1 point into your scorecard. Now, keep in mind just spotting one of these cues in a vacuum isn't always enough, but these subtle biological reactions stack up to tell a really clear story.
Now, the source points out a crucial caveat to all this. The effectiveness of these subconscious signals actually gets amplified by a psychological principle known as the halo effect. This is a cognitive bias where our brains just automatically assume that good-looking people possess a whole bunch of other positive traits. Like, our brains naturally trick us into thinking attractive people are also funnier or more charming. And this brings us to what the source calls looks maxing, which is simply the idea that by optimizing your baseline appearance, you instantly amplify how receptive everyone else is to you. So, how do you actually translate that into the real world? The source highly recommends maximizing that baseline appearance to intentionally trigger the halo effect. One really practical tip is using digital tools like FaceApp to test out different hairstyles on a selfie before you ever even sit in a barber's chair. It guarantees you get a cut that actually flatters your face shape. On top of that, the source stresses the sheer power of clearing up your skin through a solid skincare routine. And get this, even suggests eating foods packed with beta-carotene, like carrots, to give your skin a natural, healthy glow. According to the analysis, just elevating your physical presentation directly boosts how often you'll see those biological attraction signals we're tracking.
Speaking of the halo effect and being perceived as funny, let's talk about laughter. We've all heard the old advice, if you make her laugh, she likes you, but honestly, that's way too broad. The source highlights a fascinating 2013 study where students rated video clips. The researchers found that funniness ratings were strongly tied to flirtatiousness. Basically, humor is often read as a literal mating signal. But the ultimate cue you want to look out for isn't just normal laughter. It's pre-laughter. This is when she starts giggling before you've even finished your sentence or hit the punchline. She isn't laughing at the joke. Actually, let's be real. Her biology is just reacting to your presence.
Pre-laughter is an absolute giveaway. So if you've seen her giggling before the joke even lands, bump your score up by a hefty 3 points on our scale.
Let's keep cracking this body language code. Behavioral psychologists have pinpointed a set of actions known as palming, or what we're going to call the wrist checks. The inside of the wrist is a highly vulnerable spot on the human body, so subconsciously flashing them is a major indicator of comfort and attraction. The source lists 6 specific wrist checks to watch out for. There's brushing hair behind the ear to softly flash that inner wrist, playfully fiddling with jewelry mid-conversation,
tilting a drink so the palm faces you, flipping her hands open expansively while telling a story, resting a hand gently up near the collarbone, or standing with her palms inverted on her hips. Flirtation studies show the average person does this very rarely, so spotting even one of these every 8 to 10 minutes is a massive green light. Think back. Did you spot any of those vulnerable wrist exposures during your last chat with her? If so, slap another point on the board. The gamification continues. Okay, we absolutely have to shatter a major modern dating myth right now. Most guys automatically assume that if a girl is checking her phone around them, she's bored, or worse, just ignoring them. But the source brings a completely different psychological perspective to the table. For a lot of people, the phone is essentially a security blanket. If she's grabbing it or just glancing at it a few times while she's with you, it doesn't mean she wants you to leave. In fact, it often means she's incredibly comfortable around you and feels safe enough to drop her guard. Or she might just be nervously checking her notifications because your presence is literally giving her butterflies. So if she uses her phone as a relaxed security tool around you rather than a wall to hide behind, add 2 points to your tally. And get ready, because we are heading into the final and arguably most powerful signs on the entire scale. Let's talk about vocal shifts. Studies on flirting have shown that a woman's vocal pitch will naturally change when she's speaking to someone she's attracted to. One study even gave the specific metric an 82% reliability score. That is huge. You want to listen specifically to how she says mundane, everyday words. Around her normal friends, these words are going to be flat and quick, just a standard hi or no. But if she is secretly into you, her pitch is going to rise. The tone will soften, and those words will stretch out into this playful, sing-songy rhythm. It sounds more like a drawn-out hi or a teasing no. If her no suddenly sounds like a playful, stretched-out tease, or her hi jumps up a full octave when she spots you, award yourself another 2 points. Her vocal cords are totally giving her secrets away. But what if she's just incredibly shy? The source explains that while outgoing girls will flirt directly with you, shy girls lean on their environment, and specifically their friend groups, to do the heavy lifting. To decode a shy girl's interest, you actually have to watch her friends. If you walk past her group and they suddenly go dead quiet, or you catch them shooting looks at each other out of the corner of your eye, that's not random. It usually means they all know she likes you and they're nervously reacting on her behalf. You might also catch the shy girl herself staring at you, only to instantly snap her gaze away the literal second you make eye contact. Tack on another 2 points if you've ever noticed this sudden, nervous shift in her friend group's dynamic the second you enter a room. Now, let's take a quick look at digital body language, specifically on apps like Snapchat. The source offers a really handy guide for decoding these subtle bids for attention. For example, if she sends a completely black screen in the middle of the day, it's often a test to see if you'll chase her or ask what's wrong. If she sends a mirror selfie or her Bitmoji pops up in the chat, she's feeling confident and actively wants your visual approval. And that classic typing then stopping move, oh yeah, she is intentionally leaving you hanging to bait you into starting the conversation so she doesn't have to. Okay, if you are still completely on the fence, the source suggests an active ultimate test. They call it the self-sabotage test. Instead of just guessing, you propose a radical change to your appearance just to see if she cares enough to intervene. The example they give is casually dropping this line, I think I'm going to get a buzz cut. Then you just wait and watch. If she isn't interested, she'll probably just shrug it off. But if she is attracted to you, she will aggressively try to talk you out of changing your look because she already likes exactly what she sees. If you decide to deploy the self-sabotage test and she immediately jumps in to save your current hairstyle, give yourself a massive 3 points to finish off the board. All right, moment of truth. Let's bring this all together and look at the ultimate attraction scorecard. Go ahead and tally up your mental points. If you scored between a 0 and a 2, well, there are no real biological signals happening here. It's probably time to move on. If you're sitting at a 3 to 6, she's definitely curious and testing the waters. If you scored 7 to 9 points, the science says she is absolutely into you. Hitting that 10 to 13 point range means there's a really strong attraction that she is actively trying to hide. And if you somehow racked up 14 or more points, well, according to all the psychological cues we've mapped out today, she is completely infatuated with you. We've explored the suprasternal notch, the blink freeze, the hidden meanings behind her vocal pitch, and even how her own friends give her away. The behavioral cues are all right there, totally hidden in plain sight, just waiting to be read. So look at your final score. You've got the data, you have the psychological breakdown, and now you know exactly where you stand on the scale. The only question left is, what are you going to do about it now? Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next deep dive.